All right, hey everybody. Mike, based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, part of Riton's Prostaff. So that is the disclosure that you really only need to know about. So when I started with Riton's Prostaff, I was blatantly honest that I will not hold back any negative feedback from them. And they kind of need to have that to be able to improve product line, which means ultimately it's a better thing for the consumer. So upon the first iteration of their pistol red dot, they call it PRD, I was really excited about it because the pistol I currently shot, I was just going to put this on my competition clone instead of my carry gun, just because if it fails it would suck. I was excited because there were no iron sights available for that gun at that point in time due to the updates they've had. Got it in and I was really excited because this thing has a bit of a rear sight put in there, so it's like if I get custom front, I'd be alright. However, I got it in and it literally will not mount using standard RMR screws. At that point in time, the screws that came with it were some weird, I don't know, threads that you can't find. When you try to put RMR screws in there, it would not allow you to remove the battery. There are a whole host of issues that go along with saying it fits an RMR footprint when it really doesn't fit an RMR footprint and it needs proprietary hardware. So the other issue that I had with it was the on-off. Everything else I have runs on a auto-on system. It's very convenient, and you don't have to worry about your batteries draining nearly as quickly, which is not that big of a deal. Batteries are cheap. But when you forget to turn it on at the range, it kind of sucks. So that's why I don't have it on a carry gun, and I kind of break stuff pretty hard. So we'll see how long it lasts. So this is the 22 trainer. I use this thing for people that are new to red dots. The dot doesn't move, so it's very easy to pick up and it's very easy to track. So the update is Riton now has a version 2. Cool thing about this guy, let's see if we can pick it up here. It's dramatically shorter, right? If we're looking at where the main housing is, right? This one is way thinner, which means you can actually get front sights that will align with that rear. So other updates they've done on the battery no longer is screwed in, so you don't have to worry about your screws keeping your caps from coming out and making it a pain in the butt. So they've gone to the RMR style, so yes, you do have to remove it. Re-zero, blah, blah, blah. You should check your zero regularly anyway. So I view that as a major update. It is much thinner because there are no more illumination buttons. This does have an auto on, auto off, and it has auto illumination. It is only auto illumination though. If you have a really slow draw, you won't really notice any issues. But if you're shooting outdoors from concealment, the sensor is used to a dark atmosphere underneath your shirt, and then it comes out into the sunlight and it's really bright. And it takes a good little bit, a second or so, for the illumination to update. Whether that's Riton, whether that's SIG, whether that's Holosun, I've never seen instantaneous outside of Trichcon fiber optic systems. Just has a whole other host of stuff. Everything's pros and cons, right? But this thing will now allow the use of auto on, auto off, auto illumination, getting a custom made Glock front sight for this Taurus TX22 that will allow co-witnessing with the rear sight on this and the removal of this iron sight. So we'll see how that pans out. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It's part of experimenting. So anyways, I'm really glad that Riton brought this out. It addresses a lot of the issues that I have presented to them as far as pistol optic problems from somebody who breaks things from HK and cloud defense. But I just break a lot of stuff, and I don't abuse it. It just happens. Okay. So I'm really glad to see this come out. The things that I would like to see updated at some point is a way similar to Holosun where you can lock in a manual brightness, which I know complicates circuitry, will increase the price points, et cetera, et cetera. You got to look at things from a evolution rather than revolutionary concept if you want them to stay around. So one thing that I'm very happy to see on this as well is the elevation and windage screws are now using an Allen key, like a very, very small Allen key instead of flathead. So some people are complaining about that, strip it, whatever. Allens and Torxes don't really strip. You insert them incorrectly, as in not plumb, and you apply torque, and then you wonder why things don't work. So if you simply take your Allen key, use the short end, insert it until it stops, right? It is not click adjustable. So even though they say it's 1 MOA, it's really infinite adjustment because there's no clicks. But it has 90 MOA of adjustment in it, one way or the other. So it does take a fair amount of effort to actually make that thing go. So you can watch the deflection of the Allen key. There it goes. So you can, it's not going to move underneath recoil, but it does come with a nice little cover. So the only negative I have, and it's really not even negative, is the glass is, like the window, is a little bit smaller. But come on, we're talking like percentages of differences. This isn't like the RMR versus the RMR-CC, or like an RMR-CC versus a Hollow 509C. It's different. So, anyways, looking forward to using this thing, seeing how long it lasts. I know it's only going to be my 22, but if it withstands that use and abuse for a while, maybe we'll move it over to a 9mm. So, mounting hardware that comes with it are 2 screws. They do have blue Loctite already applied to them. So when you put these in, make sure that you are not cross-threading, because once they start and you hit that dry patch of Loctite, the torque requirement's going to increase. If you have that cross-thread from the get-go, you've just really made a problem. And depending on the hardness differences between screws and slides or mounting plates or whatever, you could create issues beyond just the strip screw. So that's always been a thing, but be aware of that, especially with something that has pre-applied Loctite. The battery is a CR2032. It's not a 1632, so you should get a fair amount more life out of that versus other comparable things. It does come with a little pick mount through the key. So if you're putting this on like a Ruger Mark IV or some other target gun that has a Picatinny rail, rock and roll on it. If you're going to be using this thing on like an offset AR or as primary on your AR, you won't want to be using this. You'll actually need to get an RMR specific unit, so an RMR specific riser, or specific offset, something along those lines. This is a pick setup. Those of you that prefer to have hoods on your gear, there you go. It's a low protective silicone hood. But anyways, so excited to see where this winds up going. I'm personally really looking forward to using and abusing it. And I'll report back with any problems that we've had with it. With the Gen 2 of the original model, I've had no issues out of it. The Gen 1s, I had issues, but the Gen 2s addressed some of those concerns, the like patchwork update kind of thing. So, yeah, so far this one's been good, and this one is going to be way nicer. Hope everyone has a great day. Sorry for the long shindig, but I think it's important to understand the relationship between the person who's talking about it and what the product actually is, the background, and what gives them some sort of context with the product so you can actually have some correct opinions. Unboxing videos are literally, ooh, I pulled something out of the box and doesn't help anybody. So again, whatever. Got a couple of thousand rounds on the original PRD Gen 2 and 0 rounds so far on the PRD Gen 2. The going price on Riton's website is currently $300, which, yes, is expensive. At that point, like, why wouldn't you get this or that with a known track record, things like that? I get it. The street price of the Gen 1 PRDs was, Optics Planets, Uh, if you want it with a pick or without a pick mount, actually no, they both come with a pick. So you're looking at $170. I don't know why they have it listed twice, but it's $170 street price from Optics Planet for the Gen 1s. I'm assuming that the Gen 2s are going to be right in the same ballpark because the price point on Riton's website is the same. So again, excited for the updates. We're gaining a lot of stuff with this, including the ability to actually get custom front sights to use with the molded in backup rear. No, it's not co-witness. If you're co-witnessing your iron sights with your red dot on your pistol, you really need to take a step back and ask your question, why? Because you're blocking off over half of the window screen and defeating the point. But anyways, that's a different tangent. So we're gaining a lot of stuff with Gen 2s. Is it where other competitors are at this point in the market? No. But are they progressing aggressively? Yes. Is Riton equivalent to Night Force? No. They have some very good models, both companies do. One thing that I would love to see is the 1.8 LPVOs that Riton currently has. They have a USA made one that MSRP is for $1776. I have one of those as well that I also did not pay for. It's heavy, like very, very heavy, but also has a 35mm tube. My girlfriend has a 1.8 Night Force NFX, I think is the model. It comes in at the weight of Riton's entry-level LPVO. So hopefully we're going to see something along those lines that's updating in the future. But other than that, outside of just seeing where the durability on these units goes long term, and assuming that Riton continues to push through with their product developments and improvements, assuming the price points stay similar, which is kind of hard given the increase of cost of doing business these days. I think my personal company, our cost of business is up over 25% in just expenses and labor. And that's with having less people on board, but better quality people, so they pay them better, right? But so assuming that they have something similar, if they have a 15 to 20% increase and they're not increasing the cost any, and they're providing these sorts of updates to their optics as their production and R&D teams allow, it's going to be pretty cool in a few years. One of the nice things that Riton has recently pushed through with the magnified optics side of things is their premium one, the LPVO 1.8. You can get that made in China with Japanese ground glass. You can also get that assembled in the US. So same components, same Japanese ground glass, US assembly inside of a clean room. So that's pretty cool. So hopefully that's going to be expanded out to other parts of their product line. But keep your eyeballs on them, everybody. I'm not saying that they're the latest and greatest. They're not. They're an entry-level beginning company, but they are putting out some really good products, and they're really trying to push for the innovation of things. So, sorry for the ramble. Hope everybody has a great day. Today is Sunday, September 12th. I hope that in my lifetime I never experience another September 11th. But I hope that every day is like a September 12th, 2001, where people put aside their differences and realize that we're all people and we're all living in this country together. And if the ship hits an iceberg, we're all sinking. So be kind, take care of each other, and be willing to actually have conversation. Remember that conversation and talking is to actually hear other people. It is not so that you can respond and yell louder than them. That's the only way we're going to be moving forward. Be kind. Take care.